Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to solve a mystery that honestly plagues almost every single modern workplace. We are going to figure out exactly why your absolute sharpest, most capable team members are suddenly going completely silent in your daily meetings. If you manage people, or hey, if you've ever just sat in a conference room wondering why nobody is speaking up, what we're covering today is going to totally change how you view your team. Let's get into it.
You know the exact person I'm talking about here, right? You catch them by the coffee machine or you're in a quick one-on-one catch-up and, man, they are incredibly sharp. They're full of brilliant, innovative ideas. They know the project inside and out. But the moment the whole team gathers around the conference table or logs into that daily Zoom stand-up, they just vanish into the background. They mute their mic, look down at their notes, and do not contribute a single idea. So why is this such a common, everyday occurrence?
Well, most managers look at this exact scenario and immediately misdiagnose it. They completely write it off as just a quiet personality trait. They tell themselves, oh, Sarah's just reserved, or David just isn't a big talker in groups. But I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, they are completely wrong. This daily silence, it isn't an introversion issue at all. It's actually a highly predictable symptom of their environment. To really understand why your team stays quiet day to day, we have to look past personality entirely.
Section 1. Maslow's 1943 discovery. To properly diagnose what's actually happening in that meeting room, we need to go back over 80 years. Back in 1943, a pioneering psychologist named Abraham Maslow published a pretty fascinating paper. He was trying to answer this fundamental question about human motivation. Why do some people spend their whole lives enthusiastically chasing meaning, purpose, and creative heights, while others never seem to get past just trying to survive the week? Now, decades later, business writers took Maslow's complex ideas and turned them into that famous corporate pyramid you've likely seen in 100 different training seminars. But there is a massive missing link in how we apply it today.
And here's a really surprising piece of trivia for you. Maslow never actually drew a pyramid himself. Seriously, no pyramid. That iconic stacked triangle shape, that came much later from management consultants who just wanted something clean and easy to slap onto an overhead projector. But even though that cartoonish pyramid is a bit of a corporate oversimplification, his underlying psychological theory regarding human needs holds up beautifully. And it is the absolute key to unlocking your quiet team.
Section 2. The threat to growth. Let's look at how this builds into the actual literal mechanism of the human brain when it's under pressure in a modern corporate setting, because this right here is where the silence actually originates. The claim here is stark, and it's simple. A person who feels they are under threat is biologically incapable of reliably focusing their attention on growth. Look at side B of this equation. If you have an employee who is deeply worried about paying rent this month, or maybe surviving the next round of layoffs, they literally cannot access side A. They aren't going to be thinking creatively about your new stretch project, and they certainly aren't going to raise a risky, out-of-the-box idea in your stand-up.
So the absolutely crucial point here is that this everyday silence isn't about confidence or personality at all. It is entirely about where human attention goes when we are under pressure. A huge part of your employee's brain is simply busy managing immediate risk. Think about it. If they speak up and their idea flops, are they going to be the first one fired? That calculation is running quietly in the background, consuming all their cognitive bandwidth, which means their best, most innovative ideas, they stay completely hidden.
Section 3. The workplace needs ladder.
Okay, now that we understand the psychology behind this, let's map it directly onto your organizational chart. Instead of a pyramid, I want you to think of it as a ladder, climbing up. Step 1 is the absolute foundation, a living wage, safe working conditions, and real job security. If you get that right, you step up to step 2, which is belonging. This is whether a manager actually knows their people and fosters genuine team connection. Then, step 3 is esteem. This means real recognition for actual work done, not just empty praise. And finally, right at the top is step 4, self-actualization, which in the workplace translates to true autonomy, giving them the room to solve a problem their own way instead of exactly how they were micromanaged to do it.
And this brilliantly illustrates the stark contrast and the cascading failures that happen when a rung on that ladder is broken. Just look closely at the bottom rung, safety. You can have the most inspiring corporate vision statement in the world, but if your workplace is filled with constant restructuring and layoff rumors, half the team's mental energy is spent wondering if they'll even have a job in March. When belonging fails, isolation creates deep, deep disengagement. When esteem fails, employees realize their extra effort is just absorbed without any real promotion, so they just stop trying. And without autonomy at the top, well, they just feel like cogs in a machine.
Section 4. Leadership's Big Blind Spot.
This brings us to the ultimate mistake, the massive blind spot that almost every single organization makes when trying to deal with those quiet employees we talked about at the very beginning. Look, leaders absolutely love the top of the pyramid. Purpose, mission, vision, beautifully designed culture decks, those are incredibly fun to talk about at corporate retreats, right? But by focusing solely on the top, or, by throwing a mandatory corporate pizza party, leaders completely skip over the reality that their quietest people are stuck significantly lower on the ladder. They're trying to inspire people with a grand vision while quietly leaving their fundamental safety and belonging needs completely unresolved.
I really want you to let this quote sink in for a second. Asking for commitment and creativity from people whose safety needs are still unresolved is like asking someone to enjoy the view from the top floor while the building's foundation is still being poured. I mean, it is an incredible metaphor. It literally does not matter how gorgeous the view from your corporate penthouse is or how inspiring your CEO's keynote speech is. If you haven't poured a secure foundation of job security and fair compensation, nobody is looking out the window. They are all staring nervously at the cracks in the floorboards.
So what is the actionable takeaway here? First off, you simply cannot talk a silent employee out of their fear with a corporate mission statement. It just does not work. Instead, you need to diagnose the exact level they're stuck on. Are they terrified of layoffs? Do they feel isolated from the rest of the remote team? Or maybe they feel like their hard work goes totally unrecognized. You have to step up as a leader and fix that specific foundational level first. When you provide genuine security and belonging, the inspiration and the creative ideas, they naturally follow.
I'm going to leave you with this final thought for your next team meeting. Are you demanding bold creativity while failing to provide foundational security? Because the real leadership challenge isn't asking, how do I inspire my team? The real question you must answer is, which level is your team actually stuck on right now? Fix the ladder and watch how quickly your quietest people finally find their voice.